daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Your body is unique. And Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bionique, the world's most personalised supplements. Bionique provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bionique. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Welcome to part 2 of the Daily Liverpool's coverage of the 10-year anniversary of Jurgen Klopp joining Liverpool Football Club. Let's pick up where we left off.
Louie, your next
Well,
classic moment or memorable moment.
I've got a few. I think the one that I want to talk about next, seeing as we're talking about great Klopp comebacks, and I did say that I think that was the first taste, and I've just remembered another one. That away match at Carrow Road. The 5-4 win. The 5-4 win. And it was just... you couldn't have written it. The amount of twists and turns, because I think it was Tete who scored to make it 4-4 in the last minute. And there was a real feeling of Norwich jubilation. And then suddenly at the other end, and bearing in mind Norwich had their third choice goalkeeper in goal, and I felt so bad for him. But Lallana with a left foot volley into the ground. And it just goes over the goalkeeper, and he falls back and collapses into his own net. And I'll never forget that celebration, where Lallana takes off his shirt, runs over to Jurgen Klopp, jumps on him. Benteke jumps behind him and breaks his glasses. And Klopp, in the press conference afterwards, still recovering with broken glasses, says, "I do have another pair somewhere, but it's very hard to find glasses without glasses," and then points at a journalist who was wearing glasses in the front row. So it was...
that kind of game, Karl, kind of summed up that the early Klopp years, didn't it? That kind of the absolute chaos of it, and you just don't know whether we're going to win 4-3, lose 4-3, draw 4-4, but you couldn't say it wasn't entertaining.
Yeah, and I'm against that. I'd always have a boring 1-0. At 38 of them is fine by me. I remember also that was Stephen Naismith's debut. He'd gone there from Everton, and he absolutely had a blinder. He was really, really good for them. And I also remember when Basson got the ball, who I never had any time for whatsoever. I thought, I'll let him shoot. Oh, for God's sake. Scores an absolute screamer. It was all a bit, for someone who grew up on Rafa Benitez control of midfield and everything, there was no control whatsoever. We know about what's going on then. And it's good that we brought this game up because we get to talk about the glory that is Steven Kolke, who is Jurgen Klopp's first signing. So we get this new manager from Germany. He's on first name terms with the elite of European football, and the first person he signs is Steven Kolke. And Steven Kolke nearly rejected the call because he thought it was his mates having a go at him, and he was drunk in Dublin when he got the call. And we bought him to secure the defence, and he's known mostly for just knocking that ball down, for causing havoc in the air, which leads to the Lallana goal.
Yeah.
I wasn't living in Norwich at that point.
I don't actually remember him playing a game in his natural position. He was always just used as a late striker.
On for 10 minutes at the end.
Yeah.
It was an extraordinary signing, and one that just got us over the I think was that January? I remember it was cold anyway.
It was very cold. And I remember I remember Milner got one of his first goals for Liverpool at that point as well. When he was no, it wasn't a pen. I'm
saying a non-pen, a rare non-penalty.
Yeah, a non-pen, and he ran through and he did a step over, wrong-footed the goalkeeper and slotted it away, which is just...
I'm trying to remember who the goalkeeper was now. I'm going to have to look it up. Declan Rudd.
Declan Rudd. See, I have not heard that name in years. It was ruined by that match, I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, Steven Kolke was on the bench. He came on.
Yeah.
Wow. He came on in 89 minutes.
Which was kind of normal for him. He'd get the last kind of 2 or 3 minutes. But,
Jurgen Klopp needs you for 6 minutes, mate, for injury time. That's all he needs you for.
yeah.
Wonder what he's up to nowadays.
He's doing a lot of podcasts about that game. He is. I've seen him.
Oh,
I like
really?
Stephen Klopp. He's a good lad.
Well, that was
he's now playing in Iceland. Funnily enough, the men's football department of the I'm not going to even try and pronounce that name. Oh my word! But he's playing in the top tier of Icelandic football for Stjarnan.
Fair play to him. He's carried
Good
on
for
playing.
him.
Yeah, good for him. But yeah, that was a great moment. Another, I'm going to bring up something that it might not be. It's not a great footballing moment, but whenever I think of the Klopp era, these are one of the moments that I think of. And Karl, you mentioned Lucas Leiva, and it's when Lucas Leiva attempted a long distance shot.
Derby.
And his manager sat on the bench. World-class coach Jurgen Klopp just bursts out laughing, and I just thought, this guy, he's just something different. He's just something different.
Yeah, he was also doing things like one of my favourite interviews was when Des Kelly interviewed him on BT Sport as it was at the time. And he said, thanks. At the end, he ended it by saying, "Thanks for your time, Jurgen." And he said, "I answered your questions because I had to. Bye," and just walks away.
Wow.
Anyone who slags off Des Kelly's fine by me. I can't stand Des Kelly.
Yeah, Steven Gerrard joins that club as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's just very sort of. I love his attitude to press conference where he basically just says, "You're going to ask me that question, are you?" Which, I didn't like it when people like Brian Clough used to do it all the time. But and speaking of his interviews as well, my favourite one ever, which is a famous one, was when he's got the headphones on, listening to the interpreter in the European game, and he says, "Oh, you got a very erotic voice, by the way."
Yeah, and
everyone laughs at that, and he just says, "Again, please."
Yeah,
I love that.
I think we've actually got that clip, Jesse.
I think that's on Louie's list of
actually makes it up to third on my list.
Is it?
Yeah, tremendous that.
Let's just play that one to remind everyone.
Good evening, coach. So my niece got injured. So
he's right.
How does it feel now? Sorry, I'm Senegalese, so I want to know. So it's a very important game tomorrow. How are you going to play against Paris tomorrow?
It's a very erotic voice, by the way. Translator.
Wow.
Congratulations. Wow. Again, please. Whoops,
it's that laugh at the end, though, isn't it, Louis? The laugh at the end is just
that Klopp laugh is just amazing. It feels strange just talking about a manager's laugh on a football podcast, but there's something about Jurgen Klopp. He just has this sort of demeanor about him that everyone can't get enough of. Just hearing his stories, and I've got a couple of other ones on my list that is just, only Jurgen Klopp could do that and not be hated by rival fans. Like when he, do you remember the match against Arsenal early on, and Joe Allen scored a last-minute winner, and Jurgen Klopp in the snow sprints down the touchline, gets snow caught in his hood, realised that he's run about 30 yards. And he's like, "Oh God, I have to run back now."
Yeah.
There's so much to like about Jurgen Klopp, and the fact that Slot's the same, where a lot of journalists did look forward to talking to him because he entertained them. There are some exceptions, such as Des Kelly, as you referred to, Karl, but for the most part, in his early days at Liverpool, especially, people would just look forward to his press conferences.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
He hates Des Kelly because of that game he played where somebody got injured And they said, but another injury. He says, yeah, I'm injured because you people put this game on at 12:30 and we played on Wednesday night. That's how injuries happen. That's down to you. And he gets all defensive about it. And the BT team just let it run because it's news. Obviously, they don't really care about the fact that he might have a point. It's more the fact that, we've got content out of this and we can just keep showing this clip all the time of Jurgen going a bit mad. Because I think we drew the game.
Mm.
It was just always fun. I know people who interviewed him as well and said he's just like that all the time. Everything's a laugh.
There's no wonder he ran out of energy. But just on that running down the touchline point I just made, there's a more sort of memorable one, and that's the last minute winner against Everton that Origi headed in when Van Dijk sliced it and it came off the bar. I think Pickford actually kept it in play. I still can't actually see fully and make.
No one knows what he's doing.
Yeah, no one knows what he was doing, and that's our England keeper. But when he ran onto the pitch afterwards to celebrate with Alisson, and he was interviewed afterwards, and he just looked a bit sort of apologetic in the interview. I mean, that might be my favourite moment of him during a match.
I thought it was a steward. I thought it was. I was in the Anfield Road, and I thought it was a steward. And I thought a steward's got onto the pitch, and I saw that. Oh no, that's the manager. And what I love about that more than anything else is Danny Mills was furious about it. So they thought, if Danny Mills is furious about it, it can only be a good thing, and humanity
There's
is
a lot
one.
of people on your hate list, aren't there?
Just an awful lot of people. Mostly Danny Mills.
That's a separate podcast series.
Yeah,
right. That's like a 56 episode series.
Yeah.
But no, Klopp doing that really just it sums up what he meant to Liverpool supporters, because you could see when he runs onto the pitch, he has no idea where he's going. When he first runs onto the pitch, he has no idea where he's going.
He apologised to Marco Silva afterwards, didn't he? He says, I shouldn't have done that.
But in that moment, he's just a supporter. In that moment, he's just completely lost, any kind of, I'm Liverpool manager, I've got to stay on the touchline. He's on the pitch, and the nearest guy to him was Alisson.
Yeah, Alisson I think it's when he came over as well.
Well, I think it's a footballing thing because he doesn't run to Origi because Origi doesn't know what to do for a start. Origi weirdly takes the ball and puts it on the penalty spot so we don't waste any time. We've won, mate. He runs to Alisson because Alisson touched the ball for Trent to move up to do the cross. He likes what Alisson's done because if Alisson just takes the goal kick, it's not going to get up the other end of the pitch, so he just touches it so Trent can take it. That's what he loves about it more than anything else. Alisson's thinking as a footballer.
Yeah.
That's why he runs to Alisson. So that's brilliant that you did that. And I wouldn't have thought about that at all until you'd done it.
I think also it's a testament to how much of a great relationship he has with his players as well. Because, I mean, I did allude to it earlier with the whole Adam Lallana thing, but he's very quick to sort of run onto the pitch and hug all the players after the final whistle. And it became a thing, the Klopp hug. And when this is another moment on my list, when we won the UEFA Super Cup against Chelsea and Adrian saved the winning penalty, he goes onto the, I think it was BT, and he just goes, Adrian!
Yeah. And then explains it.
Yeah.
Like Rocky.
Yeah.
And then the early days as well, with Jordan Ibe, I can't remember which match it was, but he scored from like 30 yards out, scuffs it, and it just rolls in. Runs onto the pitch afterwards, goes IB in front of the camera.
Yeah.
It's just these little things.
Jordan Ibe, that's your mate.
Oh yeah, he follows me on Instagram now, by the way. Although he didn't reply to my message, he just left me on scene. But if that's nothing against him. If he wants to come on the podcast, we would love to have you if you're listening.
Have you got to mention him on every show now? Is this part of the deal you set up with him?
Alongside Reece Williams.
Yeah.
But look, the Origi goal is, again, I think that's got to be on everyone's list. Merseyside derby, dying moments of the game, absolutely unbelievable celebration from Jurgen Klopp.
Under the lights at Anfield as well. It's always special when it's under the lights.
But that was an amazing moment. Time for a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll go through some more iconic moments.
Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out as the clear winner, with 4K video recording from your phone, AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs. It's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the description to learn more about Zencastr. Here at the Global Sports...
Okay, that was
enough
Louie
of that
again.
silly voice.
Enough of that. Right, some iconic moments. There's just so many to choose from.
Yeah.
Can I go next?
Yeah, go on, Karl.
I've got a really, really important one.
Go on.
And
Then.
it's the signing of Sadio Mane.
Okay.
I think
what in particular?
That's when I just thought. There's a couple of reasons. There's a couple of reasons, and one of them is very, very selfish. I did. I write for another Liverpool website, and I did a podcast on a transfer show called The Gutter Show, and I said Liverpool should sign Sadio Mane from Southampton because I just think he's brilliant, and also that lad from Newcastle who got 4 goals against Norwich, Genie somebody or other, and within 2 weeks he'd bought both, and I thought me and Jurgen we're on the same page. It's like Louie with Jordan Ibe. You know, there's a connection, and I because I've been thinking for a while that Sadio Mane would look brilliant on the left for us, either as a forward or as I thought more of as a 10, to be honest, because of his pace. And we weren't a particularly quick side. We had Benteke, you know, and I just thought. I think this lad's got the lot. I think he wins us trophies. I think I was so excited about buying Sadio Mane. I just thought you buy him straight away and you pay whatever Southampton want. And I know there's the 3 big signings to come in Alisson, Mo, and Virgil. But I thought that was the one that just thought, now we're serious. So then we go to Arsenal, first game of the season, and of all the 100 and odd goals he scored for Liverpool, he will never scored a better one than that.
What a goal. And he started out on the right, didn't he?
Yeah.
He started out on the right in Mo's position. But that goal, that left foot goal, what an announcement from...
and it looked matter of fact. That's why I loved it more than anything else. I'll just do this.
A great match. That was the match where Coutinho scored a free kick from miles out as well. That was such a good match.
But that also, I think that game sums up the early Jurgen Klopp years because we were brilliant. And Albert Moreno did the stupidest thing I've ever seen on a football pitch and then did it again. He goes 2-footed on someone in the penalty area. It's not a penalty. So he goes 2-footed again on the same player. Absolutely brain dead. Yeah. And I thought more than anything, we need a left back. And I still think that's the case today. But and buying Sadio was just a sort of right now he's buying players. Now he's generally buying players. Because I'll be honest, Stephen Colker did knock me for a bit. I thought, but bloody Brendan would buy Stephen, even Brendan wouldn't buy Stephen Colker. And I just thought, that's we've moved up here. We've gone a little bit higher in terms of who the shop. Because at this point, people were talking about Liverpool can only buy certain players from certain shops. We're not going to get the players that Barcelona want. And there's always a lot of things about why don't we buy the players who are at Barcelona who can't get them to the first team. And I thought, that's depressing. Pedro, for example, was one of those players. And I thought, we bought someone here pretty cheap from Southampton, and I think he's going to be glorious. And of all the front three, I think he was my favourite of the front three.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal signing. And I think you're right, Karl, in terms of the kind of major players that we signed. Obviously, Van Dijk and Alisson, they always kind of get the kind of write-ups and, as being kind of transformative signings. But I think Sadio Mane's signing really kind of laid the groundwork for that. Louie, do you have any other classic moments?
Yeah, I have a few more actually, and it's amazing that I'm still saying a few more after all this time. But this is
so many.
This one is a bit more of a sort of negative in a way, but something that's made in hindsight made Klopp really good, and that's the sort of behind the scenes, something that sort of surfaced on social media after it happened. It was the departure of Felipe Coutinho in January 2018, I believe. And in hindsight, it was the right thing because we used that money to reinvest, and we got Van Dijk and Alisson. Van Dijk, our best centre back ever, maybe alongside Hansen, and Alisson, our best goalkeeper ever, alongside Ray Clements, maybe. But he said to Coutinho, "If
Chris
you
Kirkland.
stay, they will build a statue in your honour. If you leave, you will be just another player." And he was right.
How
and
right.
I was absolutely heartbroken when we lost Coutinho because he was my favourite Liverpool player for years at that point. Just the way he played was so unlike anything that I'd seen from any Liverpool player before. And it's just the fact that he was willing to part with him with this in mind. Or maybe not willing, but you understand what I'm trying to say. It's just he said the right thing to Coutinho, and it happened. He had one good sort of half season at Barcelona, and then he started well, then went on loan to Bayern, did well for them, kind of. Did he win the Champions League with them that year? I think he did.
I think so.
But then after that, he just fell off a cliff. He went back to Barcelona.
Couldn't get in the Villa side.
Couldn't get in the Villa side either, apart from when Gerrard was there, but that was when Villa were not a very good team.
Yeah.
But it was, the goal he scored against City on the last day of the season, I just thought this is just poetically beautiful. Gerrard and Coutinho winning the league for us at City, and then, well, we know what happened at the end of that. But I just wanted to bring up that quote, just because it's Klopp saying exactly what I would want to say to Coutinho.
Mm. Yeah, reading the moment, right? Reading the moment. And, I think it was a great statement to be put out there as well for the supporters and for players who, at the club, players that, may in the future look to join Liverpool, that look, we're building something here. And, he always said about the journey, right? And
it wasn't critical. It wasn't disrespectful.
Yeah.
It was just the right thing to say.
It turned out to be prophetic, right? It turned out to be, 100% spot on. I'm gonna come up with another one, which I think, again, there are so many kind of just unique Jurgen Klopp moments. Mm-hmm. This one is another one, but it's kind of bittersweet now, and that is Jota's last-minute goal against Spurs. I've never seen a manager pull a hamstring, and Klopp just pulling his hamstring while he's going mental at the fourth official. It just kind of encapsulates just everything about Liverpool Football Club. A crazy last-minute goal. We just conceded, and then Jota scores a brilliant finish, left foot, low in the bottom corner, and then it's not the player but the manager that pulls the hamstring. Karl.
Yeah, it's I was at that game, and it was funny because Richarlison was still celebrating when he was clean through on goal, which is still one of the greatest moments of my life. Yeah. We absolutely battered Tottenham that day, and then before we bottled it, and I didn't see that, but I was also shouting at the fourth official at that time too. It just attracted moments like that. It was weird, and again, I love a 1-0. I love a 1-0 more than a 5-4, but it was extraordinary just, how around that time, just how things gravitated towards him like that. Just the incredible games, the fact, and little things like he got annoyed when people sang his song because they should have been singing the players' names, which I agree with. It was just an extraordinary thing, and it's nice that it's Diogo too. But I was also annoyed that we didn't beat them 4-0 because we absolutely pulverised them that day. They were so bad, Tottenham. Yeah. And Liverpool Tottenham Anfield is always one of my favourite games ever. But that was extraordinary. It was an extraordinary thing, and it was a proper hamstring pull. It really went. You could tell that had really gone.
Yeah, absolutely. And he looked so hacked off because it meant that he had to stop remonstrating to the fourth official because he was in a bit of pain. But yeah, I thought that was just a classic Klopp moment. You know what? I've lost count of how many we've gone through now. So this is not going to be a top 10. This is obviously going to be clearly more than 10. But Louie, any others that kind of spring to mind that you think?
I think there are two that that make absolute sense to end with, and it's the probably most famous Jurgen Klopp match, and I am of course talking about the 4-0 against Barcelona at Anfield. And there are many stories that are still coming out about that match, but he said before the match, "This is impossible, but if there's anyone who can do it, it's you. Just show effing balls," before the match. And then it became one of the most, probably the best comeback in the Champions League other than Istanbul. It was just incredible. It was emotional. The corner taken quickly, the Origi, the Wijnaldum, and the fact that we did all that missing two of our most important players. And I think Shaqiri was actually playing on the left-hand side.
He did,
yeah. Robertson went off at half-time as well, didn't he?
Yeah, after getting into a fight with Messi. And I still get emotional whenever I watch that match. I get goosebumps, and it really annoys me because the crowd was so loud that when they uploaded the highlights of it on YouTube, they kind of had to mute the crowd a little bit. But I remember watching it in the living room and just going absolutely mad. And I was overwhelmed by how loud the "You'll Never Walk Alone" was before the players had walked out. And the way Jurgen Klopp went about that game, and hearing his team talk and seeing his interviews after the match saying that he was overwhelmed, it encapsulates his time at Liverpool perfectly in that match.
There's three things about that game which always stand out for me, apart from the goals and what happened. It was the fact that Jurgen said afterwards that they'd noticed that Barcelona knock off at corners. So that was a planned thing. It wasn't just Trent saying he'd been told to do that. And also, and no one ever talks about this, it's a hell of a finish. It's not just the fact that he's talked about it. What a finish that is. Yeah. Top corner from there.
Bouncing.
It's Robbo saying to, again, Des Kelly. This is a Des Kelly show. Saying, but Suarez wasn't very happy with you. He said, well, I'm going to Madrid. He's not. That's tremendous. Yeah, I'm all about that. Bearing in mind, Luis Suarez is one of the greatest players I've ever seen, possibly the most talented footballer I've ever seen in the flesh. And more than anything, it's the lad who's on minimum wage, who's a steward in the ground, flicking the V's to Lionel Messi as he runs past him. Absolutely tremendous.
I did not know
there's a famous picture of it. Messi sat on the pitch at the end of the game. I can't believe what's happened. This lad just runs down the touchline and he just puts two fingers up as he runs past him. Tremendous.
It wasn't you, was it, Karl?
Very similar age, but no.
Oh yeah, I see it. God, wow. That is. I thought it wasn't a steward; it was a ball boy.
It was a ball boy, yeah, which means he plays for Liverpool because the ball boys, they're Liverpool players. They're from the youth team.
I would love to know who that ball boy is and what he's up to these days. Give him a lifetime contract just for that, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, can I go very off topic for a second? You know the ball boy who Eden Hazard kicked at Swansea?
He's a
multi-millionaire.
Yeah, he's a multi-millionaire. I think that was through inheritance, though, from his dad.
Well, no, he's got his money. His dad owns part of Swansea or something like that. But he's got a vodka range, which is incredibly popular, and he's made tens of millions.
Yeah, AU vodka. You've probably seen it in your local corner shop. The gold bottles with the blue top. Yeah, I haven't tried it.
His name's Charlie.
Obviously, other vodka brands are available.
Unless they're sponsoring me, I'm not interested.
Okay.
Moral of the story: get pushed by a Premier League footballer, become a multimillionaire.
Get kicked in the stomach. But I did also, because I've slagged off Brendan Rodgers a lot, but I liked it when they mentioned it to Brendan Rodgers, who's obviously former manager of Swansea, and he said, Charlie used to do that for me all the time, hold on to the ball if we were winning. I like that he said that.
Let's kind of finish off this this special. There's a couple of things that I was going to mention. When we won the Champions League, just the sight of Jurgen Klopp hugging his captain Jordan Henderson, and just like, both in complete bits, complete tears. I thought, again, just the pure emotion of it, and the relationship between the manager and the captain, which kind of permeated through the whole team, permeated through the whole club. And I was just going to say the hug, just the Jurgen Klopp hug, which, just became part and parcel of who he was and his management style. Whether it's before the game, whether before a player's going on, or player coming off, but again, just kind of encapsulated that relationship with the players. Louie, I'm going to give you the last one to end the episode on.
Well, it's the farewell speech at Anfield on the last day of the season. And I think my favourite part of that speech, other than the fact that he said, "I'm one of you now," is when he says, "Change can be a good thing." And he started singing Arne Slot's name. And I think you have the clip, don't you?
Yep.
I heard the song today a few times, and I you can do that. I have no problem with that. Let's see how the response will be. Arne Slot. La, 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 la.
Well, he's got such a booming voice.
Yeah,
he doesn't need a microphone.
I would hate to be Mamadou Sakho, because imagine that shouting at you. He just got everything absolutely right in that speech. And the fact that he invited all the fans to sing that to Arne Slot during his farewell speech, a moment that's meant to be about him, getting the standing ovation, getting the walk down the tunnel of players at the end, and getting his awards from Liverpool Football Club on the stage. He is willing to accept and invite change. And by the way, I don't think Arne Slot had even been announced as the new manager at that point, manager in line. I think he was still at Feyenoord that day, but he just got everything absolutely right, Jurgen Klopp. And it's just, his character will forever be written in Liverpool history and football history as well, as one of the great managers. And while there will always be managers that have won more in their career than Jurgen Klopp, no one really had his charisma and his likability. It will never be replicated. And yeah, I just absolutely love that man.
Karl, just another transformative figure. The comparisons with Shankly, are well known, but they're not without foundation, are they?
No, because every age has a Shankly character, and and he's deserving of that. One thing we haven't mentioned is the fact he won the league for Liverpool for the first time in 30 years, and not just won the league, absolutely steamrolled everyone. It's almost as if he said, "I want the Champions League first, and then by default we win the league because we're the best team in Europe." And 1920, I know it didn't end well because of COVID, but I went to an awful lot of games that season, and I just watched the best Liverpool side I've ever seen. It was definitely up there with 88 and 79, and he gave us the thing that no one else could give us, and he did it just because. I mean, I get all this people are saying, he only won 1 and Guardiola's won 27 or something like that, but it's not the same. It really isn't the same because of various reasons, but 115 reasons for a start. But it's a to do that is just astonishing. To win the league for Liverpool and to do it like that, where I was at Old Trafford when we dropped our first point of the season, and we didn't lose a game till like March or something stupid, February or something like that when we went to Watford, and that was just extraordinary. Going to Anfield was like, it's always a thrill anyway. It's always the highlight when you go to Anfield. But to go there and think, I get to watch that forward line, I get to watch Virgil, I get to watch that midfield, which is still very. Around that time, people were slagging off the midfield. Not me. I loved that midfield of Fabinho, Henderson, and Wijnaldum, and that was a starting 11 that people will talk about in the way they talk about the 77 side against Rome and things like that. That was a full 11. And that was his team, and that was in his image, and that's what he did for this club.
Absolutely. I think we'll leave it there. That is all for today. You've been listening to the Daily Liverpool podcast, brought to you by the Global Sports Podcast Network. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, from myself, Karl and Louie, thank you for listening.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.